in order to allow my wife to focus on her career in the entertainment industry. I resigned and became her malinanny for 5 years. However, after hearing the news that her first love was getting married, she secretly underwent a sterilization surgery. That very day, she even posted a photo of herself lying in the hospital bed on the newspaper with the caption, "Only you can be the father of my child." When the news broke, reporters surrounded me and Avarian was waiting to see my embarrassment. But I simply shrugged and said, "They're so in love. Why don't they all just live together?" While handling many files on the plane, I could barely keep my eyes open and was looking forward to getting home and sleeping well. Little did I know, as soon as I landed, I was surrounded by a swarm of reporters. "Ethan, how do you feel about your wife undergoing a sterilization surgery for her first? Ethan, how do you feel about being cuckolded after your marriage? Ethan, has this happened to you before?" Everyone was waiting for me to lose my temper, but I just casually said, "They're so in love, I almost want to ship them together. Maybe we should all live together." The reporter stood frozen, clearly not expecting me to respond this way. After the interview, I shook off the paparazzi, trailing me and walked alone on the street. The neon lights on the streets flickered, and people were walking in groups, chatting, and flowing. I felt an unprecedented sense of relief. But soon this feeling was shattered by a phone call from Amelia Cross. "Ethan Blake, where the hell have you been? You haven't answered my calls or texts. What did you say in that interview?" As soon as the call connected, she started yelling at me. I glanced the unread messages on my phone and responded calmly. "What's the problem?" I just spoke the truth. Perhaps hearing my unapologetic response, her emotions immediately reached a peak. "Truth, is that all you have to say? Do you even know how weak I am after the surgery? I haven't eaten all day, and here you are making sarcastic remarks. You're my husband, you couldn't even show some concern for me." Listening to her indignantly scolding me, I was speechless and even chuckled. "Amelia Cross, can you have some dignity?" He ended the call. The cold wind blew outside, and I randomly walked into a bar. Sitting by the window, sipping on some sake, I watched the snow fall outside, my thoughts drifting with the snowflakes. In these years of marriage, I've always believed I fulfilled the duties of a good husband. I've been attentive and have never missed a meal. No matter what mistakes she made, I always convinced myself to accept them, because in my heart, I kept telling myself that a wife is someone to cherish, the one who is meant to spend life with you. But all my compromise and softness have become a given in her eyes, and she's gotten more and more unreasonable. Eventually, she crossed my bottom line. After finishing the last of my drink, I realized my feelings for her had come to an end. I opened my email and found an interview invitation from my old classmate, Nathaniel Hale, sent a few months ago. It was for a position with a Fortune 500 company headquartered abroad. I was coming to this city to attend the interview and hopefully secure the position of the regional manager for China. In the past, I had considered Amelia Cross's needs and hesitated to pursue a job since no one would be around to take care of her, but now, I realized I had overthought it. If needed, they could all live together. Not long after, Nathaniel Hale called me. "All right, Ethan Blake. Finale thought it through. Huh. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Your interview is at 9 a.m. the day after tomorrow. Be there on time. With my connections and your talents, you'll be fine." I felt a little comforted, ate some snacks, and stayed up until dawn. The next morning, Amelia Cross texted me. "How does it feel to be a celebrity now? Must be nice to be surrounded by people." "Right, I've been invited to appear on TV. I might come home late these days. Make sure to prepare some supper for me." I just glanced at her message and didn't take it to heart. It's been 5 years of marriage and I've been nothing more than her male nanny. A phone call from her, no matter how far, no matter how late, and I would have to show up at her side. If she was slightly unhappy, she would make a scene. Past minor disagreements were taken to the company. And for that, I resigned and focused on serving her. I was just opening my computer to prepare for the interview materials when I received a call from my mom. "Son, I saw what's on the internet. True." I remained silent for a long time, unwilling to tell her that her daughter-in-law had put such an embarrassing thing on the newspaper and was about to appear on television. "Mom, don't think to muck about it." I could only comfort her. "I've told you before, Amelia Cross isn't a good girl. Someone as naive as you shouldn't be with her. You'll regret it. Such bad luck. It's truly a misfortune for the family." After hanging up, I sat in the sofa, feeling mixed emotions, and soon fell asleep. When I woke up again, I heard Amelia Cross angrily scolding me. She threw her coat onto the bed and shouted, "Ethan Blake, are you asking for it? I told you to prepare supper for me. Is it really that hard to meet such a small request?" I lazily glanced at my phone and saw a series of messages, but it didn't bother my mood. I simply replied, "I'm tired. You can make it yourself. If there's nothing else, I'll sleep a bit longer." After saying that, I pulled the blanket over me and was about to sleep. Her fury was ignited immediately by these words. She grabbed the blanket and threw it to the floor, pointing at me and shouting, "Do you have a conscience? I'm your wife, and Yuck no, I just had surgery and am weak. You're doing this on purpose to provoke me. Are you hoping I die? I lazily glanced at her again and responded, did I force you to have surgery? Did you do it for me? Her words paused for a moment as if she couldn't come up with an immediate response, but quickly she snapped back. Does it really matter? White was 4. The point now is that you, as a husband, are failing in your duty to take care of your wife. As your husband, you should unconditionally meet all my requests, understand me, and tolerate me. Stop throwing a tantrum over little things. Besides, I'm going through all this hardship for a chance to appear on TV. If I get famous, I can make money. I couldn't help but laugh at her speech, a nonsensical tirade. It seemed that in her eyes should live as a man with no bottom line, no principles, and only serve her. Undoubtedly, for the past 5 years, I had treated her like McQueen. I compromised, bowed down to her, and obeyed her every word. But now, I was truly tired. Fine, since you say I'm not a qualified husband, let's get a divorce. After the divorce, you can look for the perfect husband in your mind and no one will interfere with you. I picked up the blanket from the floor and tornado sleep. She remained silent for a long time before coldly speaking. Ethan Blake, this is what you said. Don't come agreeing to me later. With that, she left the room. The empty room reverberated with the thought of the door being slammed shut. Perhaps it had been a long time since I had slept so peacefully. I felt refreshed, casually freshened up, and headed to the Civil Affairs Bureau. We had agreed to meet at 10 a.m. Booty waited until 11 a.m., and she still hadn't shown up. I was about to call her and ask where she was when I heard a commotion outside. I stepped out of the Civil Affairs Bureau and saw a crowd gathered. On the street, as I got closer, I realized that Amelia Cross was lying on the road with a car parked nearby. Not only that, but there were also many reporters scrambling to take pictures. Oh dear, how could this young girl be so hopeless at such a young age? I heard she was abandoned by her husband. She couldn't handle it and ended up like this. Tisk, her husband must be a bad guy. Anyone who could push their wife to this point can't be a good person. The onlooker's words pierced my heart. That's when I understood Amelia Cross was putting on a show again. Soon after, Amelia Cross's friend Emma Lewis arrived with a group of people furious. The moment she saw me, she rushed over and slapped me. Ethan Blake, where the hell have you been? You've made your wife end up like this, and you're just standing here watching the show. The people around us turned to look, and cameras immediately started flashing in my face. An older man who had been taking care of Amelia Cross patiently walked over, pulling me aside. I tell you, young people these days, it's just a little quarrel. What's the big deal? You pushed her into getting the sterilization surgery, and now you're forcing her to get a divorce. This is really pushing her to the edge. Look at her lying on the street. Doesn't she look pitiful? I stared at him in confusion, and he sighed as he patted my shoulder. Be good to her, young girl. She's not having an easy time. I walked closer, and Amelia Cross, struggling slightly, looked up at me with a pleading gaze, her voice soft. Husband, I know I was wrong before, but I'm really weak right now. I beg you, please don't be angry with me anymore. Please take me home. As soon as she finished, cameras were aimed at me again. I was no longer afraid and simply replied calmly, no. Bang. Emma Lewis angrily slammed her bag on the ground and rolled up her sleeves to charge at me, but was quickly stopped by people around her. Ethan Blake, what kind of man are you? Amelia was already begging you in such a low voice. What more could you possibly want? I know you've had problems with her because of Alexander West, but you've known about their issues for a long time. Don't you also have your own first love? Do you have any idea how much Amelia was hurt by Alexander West's marriage? She was just paying the price for her youth. Did you really have to divorce her? I remained expressionless, listening to her rant, and couldn't help but sigh. No wonder she and Amelia Cross were good friends. Both of them were equally ridiculous and shameless. Since you treasure her so much, why don't you be with her? Why are you sticking to me? She became even more agitated, shouting and grabbing the water jug on the table to throw it at me. I didn't have time to dodge and was struck on the head, causing a bump. A guy nearby quickly stepped in to mediate, pulling me aside in quietly, saying, Bro, I understand how you feel, but this isn't such a big deal. Just let it go. The day will pass and life will go on. Don't make it so tense. I looked at the guy who called me his bro, and couldn't help but sneer from the way you talk. I'm guessing you've been through a lot of this yourself, huh? Just let it go, huh? You're really good at putting up with this. Are you the reincarnation of a Ninja Turtle? The man's face darkened instantly, and his expression became very grim. I couldn't be bothered to continue in circles, so I walked straight up to Amelia Cross. I don't care what you think. I'm getting this divorce. You don't have to go through all this trouble with so many people to back you up. It's useless. If it's time to divorce, then it will happen. Amelia Cross looked at the divorce papers I threw down, with an expression that was anything but ordinary. Is it really like this, Ethan Blake? We've been married for 5 years. Don't you feel anything for me? At all. I looked at her coldly without any change in my mood. You're wrong. Amelia Cross. It's always been you who didn't feel anything. After graduating from college, I had planned to propose to her at the graduation ceremony. Just as I was about to pull out the ring, she suddenly had a change of heart. No, Ethan Blake, I'm not ready yet. Wait until July 5th, then propose to me. I thought it wasn't a big deal, totally it for a few days. So I didn't question it, but later I found out that July 5th was Alexander West's birthday, the day they first met. She also said, our wedding for July 5th. That day, she posted on her social media, my happiest day belongs only to you. He thought she was talking about me and replied to her post. But just a few days later, I found out she had deleted my. This, along with many similar incidents, extinguished my desire to love her properly, piece by piece, and this latest event shattered my heart completely. I was like a clown witnessing the hidden affection between them. Seeing my indifference, Amelia Cross couldn't hold it anymore. Enough, Ethan Blake. How much longer do you want to act out? There's nothing between me and Alexander West. Why are you so jealous? I looked at her helplessly, realizing that even now, she still hadn't acknowledged her mistakes. It's not your fault, it's mine. I'm just a jealous man. I just can't bear seeing my wife after learning her first love is getting married. Immediately going to get sterilization surgery and then deliberately putting it in the newspapers to make a spectacle of it. I've said it before, even if you three decide to live together, I won't object. Hearing this, Amelia Cross suddenly panicked and she nervously argued. It's just a sterilization surgery. What's the big deal? If y'all want children later, we can adopt. It's just a child. Why are you overreacting so much? Seeing her indifferent, I was speechless. I don't want to argue with you anymore. If you sign this divorce agreement, we'll divorce normally, and the house will stay with you. But if you keep refusing to sign, then I'll have to consult a lawyer. And don't blame me if things get ugly. With that, I turned and walked out. I rented a place outside and spent half a day cleaning it up. Looking out of the floor-to-ceiling windows at the towering buildings, I suddenly felt full of motivation. Like the passionate Ethan Blake from the past had returned. Soon, I received the official notification from the company. In a few days would officially start, and Nathaniel Hale arranged a party to celebrate. In the evening, several of our former classmates gathered together, drinking and celebrating. Besides congratulating on my promotion, they also congratulated me for becoming a golden bachelor. As the mood got more and more lively, we decided to watch some variety shows to keep the fun going. But as soon as we turned on the TV, we saw the news from a few days ago outside the Civil Affairs Bureau. Heartbreaking husband files for divorce. Wife devastated and crashes into the car. What I had said was maliciously edited, making Amelia Cross appear as a complete victim. While I came off as a cold and unreasonable husband, the people present immediately sensed something was wrong, and the atmosphere became awkward. I opened my phone to check Weibo and the comment center. The news were full of insults. This guy must be seeing someone else. Why else would he want a divorce? Cheating man. Am I the only one who thinks this guy is not good enough for her? Sisters, get ready. Let that cheating dog get kicked out without a cent. To avoid disturbing the party atmosphere, I had to leave early. As soon as I got home, I received a call from my dad. Ethan, your mom is in the hospital. Come see her when you have a time. In the hospital. What happened? The previous checkups all said everything was fine. My dad stayed silent for a long while before finally speaking. It's all because of your wife. Your mom saw the news today and fainted from anger. I hung up the phone, my mind going blank. By the time I got to the hospital, my heart sank when I saw the countless needle marks on my mom's hand. I stayed there until midnight. But then I received a call from Amelia Cross. Ethan, I heard mom is in the hospital. Is it true? Did you see the news? 2. I need to explain. That was just their way of grabbing attention. I didn't mean it like that. Please don't misunderstand. Come out and grab a few of my clothes to take home. The media will be looking for me soon, so I won't go inside. I hung up the phone, my face cold, and left the hospital. Amelia Cross-handed me to clothes, and I casually threw them on the ground. What are you doing? These are the clothes I need for my show. Before she could finish, I took out the divorce agreement. Sign it quickly. No more talking. She reached out to grab him, shrugged her off without even looking at her. Seeing me so serious, Amelia Cross started to panic. With tears in her eyes, she helplessly grabbed my arm, her voice tinged with a sob. I'm sorry, Ethan. Did I make you angry? I know I was wrong. Please forgive me. Her tears fell one by one. If this had been the old me, I would have immediately pulled her into my arms and forgiven her. But now my heart was dead and it was impossible to revive. I pushed her hand away without any trace of reluctance. Enough, Amelia Cross. Since the day you decided to get sterilized, it was over between us. Once you put those shameful actions in the newspaper, it was truly over. There's no going back. Seeing my indifference, Amelia Cross cried harder and actually knelt at my feet. No, Ethan, I can't lose you. Please don't leave me alone. Her crying drew a crowd of onlookers. When they saw Amelia Cross's pitiful appearance, they immediately assumed this was the story of a cheating husband and a wife desperately trying to keep her man, and they began pointing fingers at me. TSK, TSK, look at this guy. What is his wife is begging him, and he's acting all high and mighty. Ugh, tell your daughters to be careful, went the Mary, so they don't end up wasting their hearts on a dog and creating unnecessary drama. Hearing this, I couldn't help but chuckle. Don't just tell your daughters. Also tell your sons to be careful when choosing a partner. Don't end up feeding your heart to a dog, and don't create unnecessary drama. With that, I pushed Amelia Cross away and walked off without looking back. That day was the day I officially started my new job. The company leadership knew about my past achievements, and they all looked at me with respect, even coming to the entrance to greet me. The president of the company, a short Japanese man, always had a smile on his face. Luckily, I had learned some Japanese in college, so communicating was no problem. The president valued me greatly, entrusting me with many major tasks. 3 months later, the company's performance skyrocketed, and my boss was very pleased. He gave me an acquisition task. The company to be acquired was Cold Star Incorporated, and if I remembered correctly, Amelia Cross's first love, Alexander West, worked there and held a relatively high position. Coincidentally, the person I would be working with on this was him. When he saw me, his eyebrows raised unconsciously, and his tone carried an unknown sense of superiority, as thought today's acquisition was not about them, but about us. Ethan. What a coincidence. You're a social celebrity now. Amelia used to talk about you all the time. Oh, what did she say about me? I asked. He couldn't help but smirk. Well, she said, you're such a good husband, always lazy and relying on her to support the family. Before I could respond, Ha suddenly leaned in close and whispered in my ear, no wonder no one wants to have kids with you. She'd rather publicize her sterilization and face public criticism to get my attention. You can't tell me you're not jealous. The conference room was empty except for a few people sitting together, and without a doubt, his words reached ears. Everyone looked awkward and lowered their heads. Seeing his smug expression, I knew he was trying to provoke me on purpose. When a person is angered, they tend to speak without, and if I say or do something that creates a logical flaw, he could use it to block the acquisition plan. He had a bit of brain, but not much. I gave a faint smile, took out the acquisition contract, and recited the clauses and conditions without missing a single word. Before this, I had carefully reviewed every detail of my speech to ensure there were no mistakes. It was clear that Alexander West's face was not only dark, but also extremely unpleasant. Still not going to sign, Alexander? He glared at me with burning anger, but I kept smiling, and there was nothing he could do. In the end, the contract was successfully signed. As we walked out of the company, everyone seemed to have an unspoken understanding and left ahead, leaving only me and Alexander West behind. Ethan Blake, if Amelia Cross finds out what you've done to me, what do you think will happen? None of my business. I glanced at him coldly, and he gradually showed a smile. I turned to leave, but he called after me. Wait and see. Ethan Blake, I don't believe any husband would just sit back and watch his wife fall for another man, keeping his composure. I'm waiting to see your joke, I replied, stopping in my tracks and turning to face him. It's your joke, I added. Thanks to my excellent performance in this task, I was promoted and received a raise. At the company's celebration banquet, everyone toasted to my success. Having been a stay-at-home husband for so many years, I had become somewhat numb to toxic things. But seeing this scene in front of me, I couldn't help but feel a sense of joy. I sat alone, immersed in its joyous atmosphere, completely unaware that my junior, Emily Johnson, had quietly sat beside me. Senior, Ario, so happy that you're about to go crazy, she said, smiling at me. I smiled back and replied, yes, it's been years since I felt like this. I believe there will be more of such moments in the future. I believe in you. She gently clinked at her glass against mine, the crisp sound making me momentarily dazed. Just as I was thinking of getting drunk and letting it all go, I received a call from Amelia Cross. Ethan, what did you do today? I knew for sure Alexander West had gone to complain, so I didn't hide anything and said, I slapped Alexander West in public. What do you think? As soon as heard this, the tension that had been building in Amelia Cross completely snapped. She screamed at me, Ethan Blake, it's fine if you don't care about me, but you can't do this to him. I'm outside the bar. If you don't come out to see me, I'll cause a scene at your celebration banquet. I rolled my eyes inwardly, knowing that her threat about making a scene at the banquet was nothing but empty words. But I was still curious about how far Amelia Cross would go to defend Alexander West. So, I made up an excuse and went to the bar. As soon as she saw me, Amelia Cross rushed over and pushed me. Do you even think before you speak? Making Alexander Lowe's face in front of so many people? Are you slapping his face or mine? I know you're angry with me, but you shouldn't take it out on him, do you know? He nearly got fired because of his poor performance in this acquisition deal. Why can't Ujay admit the trouble you've caused? You have to give me an explanation today, or you're not leaving. I looked calm at Amelia Cross's accusations and nearly laughed out loud. To send a woman to confront me on behalf of Alexander West, he was truly a useless coward. Had I known he enjoyed playing the turtle, I would have humiliated him even more. Yes, I humiliated him because he deserved it. I won't apologize, and next time I see him, I'll scold him even worse. Now you can go. I turned to Lev and Amelia Cross. Seeing how determined I was, rushed over and grabbed my arm. I'm sorry, Ethan, I didn't mean to force you to apologize. Can we talk properly? Please don't be so cold to me. I've already endured so much lately. As Cha spoke, her tears started to fall. Seeing this, I took out a tissue. When she do this, her eyes lit up and she reached out to take it. But I avoided her hand and wiped the foundation off Miss Witt. Don't come so close to me next time. Your foundation is staining my suit. As soon as I said this, the lighting Amelia Cross's eyes instantly dimmed, but she still wouldn't let go of my hand. Are you seeing someone else now? Before, no matter how much I stained your suit, you never said anything. I turned to see her staring at me, and it made me uncomfortable. It's none of your business. I forcefully shrugged her off, leaving her far behind. Just as I stepped into the bar, I heard her shout from behind. Ethan Blake, you'll regret this because of my outstanding performance. The president invited me to a high-end club to meet with several top executives from other powerful companies. I understood that the president's move was meant to introduce him to these influential business people for future dealings. As the wine at the dinner table ran low, Emily Johnson volunteered to go get more drinks. The rest of us began talking seriously. However, after about 20 minutes, that drink still hadn't arrived. I assumed Emily Johnson might be having some trouble with the negotiations, so I made an excuse to leave the private room. I walked towards the front desk, and not long after, I saw Emily Johnson cornered. The man beside her, I knew all too well it was Alexander West. From a distance, I could feel the fear in Emily Johnson's eyes. She grew up in a single-parent family and had a timid personality. Her mother had always protected her well. Given the situation she was in now, she must have been completely terrified. So, I quickly walked over, grabbed Alexander West, and pulled him away, standing firmly in front of Emily Johnson. Alexander West, have you lost your mind? When he saw me, the leerous look on his face turned into one of even more arrogance. What's it to you? He teased, his eyes full of disdain. What did you say to her? What did you do? I coldly questioned, vaguely, feeling Emily Johnson's hand trembling as she gripped mine. I'm just having some fun. What's wrong with that? Oop, is she to you, a mistress? Alexander West looked Emily Johnson up and down. Not bad, better than Amelia Cross. He laughed even more wildly, making me feel sick. Apologize to her, I said. He glanced at me indifferently, spat at my pants, and sneered. What kind of person do you think you are to demand an apology from me? He turned to leave, but I suddenly grabbed his arm and pulled it hard, causing him to fall heavily to the ground. Ethan Blake, you dare hit me? Who the hell do you think you are? His words were full of bravado, but in reality, he was completely suppressed by me, unable to move. Ethan Blake, you're jealous of me, right? Your wife got sterilized for me, and now I'm seducing your little mistress. You must be going crazy with rage. Huh? I looked at his pathetic face and coldly asked, does your wife know about all this? He couldn't help but laugh when he heard her. What she just like Amelia Cross. I mess around with her and then kick her to the curb. I married her only because her dad is the chairman of Coldstar and he could arrange a good job. At this point, I slightly turned my head and Emily Johnson immediately landed my intention. She discreetly pressed the record button on her phone. These two are just as dumb. All I need to do is show them a little kindness, and they come at me like mad dogs, and I can't shake them off. What else can Ito? He looked at me, his lips curling into a grin. Why am I telling you all this? A regular guy like you will probably never experience this kind of treatment in your life. To my surprise, Emily Johnson suddenly rushed out and kicked him right in the forehead. Alexander West rolled in pain. And just like that, Alexander West seemed to completely lose it, flipping over and starting to fight with me. This incident escalated to the police station. Both Alexander West and I had varying degrees of injuries on our faces. But Emily Johnson's kick was so strong that it left a very noticeable high-heel print on Alexander West's face. Not long after, Amelia served, she rushed towards Alexander West as soon as she walked in, completely ignoring her own disheveled appearance. How are you, Alexander? Are you badly hurt? When Alexander West saw Amelia Cross, it was like he found someone to vent to, and he started pouring out his complaints. Amelia, look at your good husband. He came up and beat me up without saying a word. I even tried to involve you, but he still went all out. I can see he doesn't value you as a wife at all. Upon hearing this, Amelia Cross immediately glared at me with anger. Ethan Blake, what are you doing? Why are you always targeting Alexander? You wanted to get him fired before, and now you want to get him killed. I know you've always been jealous of Alexander. He was always better than you in college, and even after work, he's still better. But the man really has talent. You can't deny it. Let's be honest. Why can't you just look at yourself? Look at your own. What do you have that compares to Alexander? As I see it, you should just get along with Alexander. Maybe he'll even help you find a better job. Hearing this, I couldn't help but laugh. And Emily Johnson behind Mealmost rolled her eyes to the back of her head. Miss Cross, do you know that your dear Alexander just harassed me verbally and physically at the bar? The filthy words that came out of his mouth? I'm sure you haven't heard them before. Emily Johnson spoke firmly, completely different from her usual cautious demeanor, and I was somewhat, but Amelia Cross didn't let her finish and interrupted her immediately. I don't believe it. How could Alexander, such a good man, be arranged like this by you? He was the school heartthrob, the one that every girl threw herself at, but he ignored them all. You, Amelia Cross, walked over to Emily Johnson, circling her and sighing. To be blunt, with your conditions, you're nothing compared to us. Many women who pursued Alexander, even the campus beauty, didn't catch his eye, let alone you. I think you're gesturing to seduce him, but failed. And now you're trying to bite back. Upon hearing this, Emily Johnson gave her a big facepalm expression that I couldn't help but laugh at what she said. The campus beauty she referred to was clearly herself. Back in college, I had always heard others say that Amelia Cross was like a leech to Alexander West, constantly trying to stick to him, but at that time, I had the filter of a first love, so I never paid any attention to it. Looking back now, it seems so ridiculous. I was actually relieved that she didn't have my child. Otherwise, with her intelligence, she would never have been able to raise Oakland properly. You people must be jealous of how outstanding Alexander is. So, you're trying to spread gossip to Toternesh's reputation. I'm telling you, as long as I'm here, I won't let you succeed. Amelia Cross said with absolute confidence, and behind her, Alexander West wore an expression full of pride and disdain. Miss Krause, don't speak too soon. It's not too late to make your decision after you hear the recording. With that, Emily Johnson clicked the play button on her phone, and the conversation we had earlier was clearly played out for everyone to hear. To my surprise, Emily Johnson had secretly started recording when Alexander West was harassing her. As their recording played, the smiles on Amelia Cross and Alexander West's faces slowly faded. Once the recording ended, Amelia Cross collapsed to the ground. Perhaps she couldn't believe that her idea of her first love was actually such a despicable person. He didn't even value the little bit of attention she had worked so hard for, considering it nothing but a trivial act of charity. In the end, Alexander West was detained. After the matter was resolved, we left the police station, and for some reason, Amelia Cross kept her gaze fixed on Emily Johnson in the distance. When she saw Emily Johnson alone, Amelia Cross immediately approached, and I quietly followed. You're Emily Johnson, right? I just want to ask you, is it honorable to seduce another woman's husband? Amelia Cross spoke in a sharp tone, but Emily Johnson still kept her smile. I think you misunderstood. We came here to attend a company meeting, and Brother Ethan came to help me when I encountered some trouble. I don't have the habit of seducing someone else's husband. Sopless, show some respect and don't make wild accusations. Emily Johnson turned to leave, but Amelia Cross suddenly grabbed her wrist. Don't argue in front of me. Do you know, without my permission, my husband never looked at other women. But now, as soon as you show up, he's bringing you to events and helping you out. You still dare to say didn't intentionally seduce him. You're playing the victim, making Ethan Blake speak up for you, using him to get Alexander sent to jail. Both of them were hurt, but you came out unscathed. Do you still dare to say you didn't have any ulterior motives? Emily Johnson almost laughed out loud at Amelia Cross's words. Absurd. She tried to break free from Amelia Cross's grip but couldn't get away. Amelia Cross. Now if I only understand why Brother Ethan wanted to divorce you. Being with someone like you, I can't imagine how many grievances he had to endure. You don't know how to love yourself, and you certainly don't know how to love others. I've heard some things about you and Brother Ethan. Honestly, what happened today is entirely your own fault. Brother Ethan has given so much to you over the years. Ask yourself, what have you treated him as? You've already caused him so much harm, and you're still not satisfied. You don't treat Brother Ethan like a person, and neither does Alexander West. Just wait. The mistakes you've made will one day come back to haunt you. Think carefully about your actions. Emily Johnson turned to leave, leaving Amelia Cross standing there in a daze. A few days later, Nathaniel Hale told me that after Alexander West was released, he divorced. His father-in-law, who happened to be at our dinner party, heard everything he said and immediately insisted on a divorce when he got home. His father-in-law is quite a formidable person. Not only did he make him leave with nothing, but he also demanded the money he had spent training him over the years, several million in total. Now Alexander West is borrowing money everywhere, and he's too embarrassed to go home. He's in a miserable situation. I just chuckled in response. That's what he gets. Amelia Cross still hadn't signed the divorce papers and I was getting impatient. So I told her if she didn't sign, we'd take it to court. Not long after, she replied to me, "All right, I'll meet you at Rose Hotel room 602 tonight. I'll sign after we finish taking." Happy that I finally got a response, I agreed without hesitation. That evening, I knocked on her door but found the lights off inside. Just as I was feeling confused, Amelia, "Come in, Ethan, why aren't the lights on?" I muttered, irritated, as I walked into the dark room, only to be suddenly hugged forcefully. "I'm sorry, Ethan, I don't want to divorce you. Please forgive me, I'll do anything you want." Her sudden embrace made my discomfort peak, and I shoved her away with force. "Enough, Amelia Cross. How long are you going to keep making trouble?" I hurriedly turned on the light and saw Amelia Cross wearing a wine-red nightgown, her makeup thick and heavy. I quickly threw a jacket at her from the car. "Put your clothes on." Seeing my lack of reaction, Amelia Cross seemed even more aggrieved. "I don't believe it. I can't believe you really have no feelings for me anymore. Isn't it just a mistake to get your forgiveness? I've given up my dignity. Can't you just pity me a little?" I didn't want to listen to her anymore, so I placed the divorce agreement on the table. "Stop saying so much, it's all too late. Just sign it." After a long silence, Amelia Cross suddenly lunged to grab the agreement. Luckily, I was quick and auto-snatched it back before she could get it. When she realized she couldn't get it, she screamed loudly, "I don't agree. As long as I don't want it, you'll never leave me." Watching her like this, I was about to lose my patience. "Fine, if ya want sign, then we'll see each other in court." I turned to leave, but she blocked the door. "No, Ethan, you know I have no source of income. Now, making me go to court will be the death of me. You can't do this to me. We've been married for so many years. Are you really going to be this heartless?" I glanced at her coldly and handed the divorce agreement to her again. "Don't want to go to court? Then sign." After much hesitation, Amelia Cross finally signed and we were officially divorced. On the afternoon of the divorce, I walked down the street feeling an indescribable joy. Everything from the past had come to a perfect end that day. Later, I sued. The media thought had slandered and defamed me and successfully received compensation. Amelia Cross also posted a public apology video online and disappeared from the public eye. 3 years later, Emily Johnson and I got married, had a lovely daughter, and even adopted a corgi. I continued to rise in my career, and after the president retired, I succeeded him in his position. I put all my effort into loving my family, and they returned that love wholeheartedly. That the phrase successful career and harmonious family, which I've once envied so much, is now something I've achieved for